Scandals, secrets, and strange relationships. Some of history's most famous figures had love lives that were just as legendary as their battles and conquests. But what if I told you that some of these powerful figures had some of the most ridiculous romantic misadventures? From wild bets about who could have the most lovers to strange marriages involving horses, these stories will make you laugh and might even change the way you see these historical legends. And the best part? These stories are all real. Welcome to Mysteries Debunked. If you enjoy bizarre facts and funny historical anecdotes, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode. Now, let's get into some of the weirdest love stories from ancient history. 12. Julius Caesar. Every woman's man and every man's woman. Rome's greatest general and conqueror. Caesar was a man of many talents, but it wasn't just his military genius that had people talking. His love life was just as legendary. He had countless lovers, but what made people laugh behind his back was his rumored relationship with King Nicomedes of Bithynia. Yep, you heard that right. The powerful Julius Caesar, conqueror of Gaul, was jokingly called the Queen of Bithynia by his fellow Romans. They loved gossip just as much as we do today, apparently. This wasn't just about Caesar's reputation as a ladies' man. It was also about his ability to charm just about anyone. 11. Cleopatra, the queen who seduced empires. Speaking of Caesar, we can't forget Cleopatra. She wasn't just the queen of Egypt, she was also a master of seduction. Her love affairs with Julius Caesar and Mark Antony were legendary. But Cleopatra was more than just a pretty face. She was sharp, witty, and loved playing mind games with men in power. She was proving she could outsmart the men around her in every way. Now that's what you call a power move. 10. Nero, the emperor, who married his mother. Nero, Rome's infamous mad emperor, wasn't just known for burning down the city and playing his lyre. He also had one of the weirdest love lives in Roman history. One of the strangest tales is about his relationship with his mother, Agrippina. Rumors swirled that their relationship wasn't exactly motherly, but things got even stranger after Nero had Agrippina killed. In a bizarre twist, Nero became obsessed with a young boy named Sporus because he looked a lot like Agrippina. What did Nero do? He had Sporus castrated, dressed him in women's clothes, and even married him in a grand ceremony. 9. Caligula, the emperor and his horse. This guy was known for his wild parties and his total disregard for anything resembling normal behavior. But one of the funniest and strangest stories about Caligula is his relationship with his horse, Incitatus. Caligula loved Incitatus so much that he planned to make the horse a consul, one of the highest offices in Rome. But here's the kicker. There were rumors that Caligula also had a very close relationship with his horse. We're not saying he was actually in love with it, but knowing Caligula's love for shocking people, it wouldn't surprise us if he played up those rumors just to mess with everyone. 8. Messalina, the empress who won a sex contest. Messalina was known for being wild and scandalous, but one story in particular takes the cake. It's said that Messalina once entered into a sex contest with a professional prostitute to see who could entertain the most men in one night. Believe it or not, Messalina won the contest, reportedly sleeping with 25 men in a single night. The real joke here is that while Messalina was out there having wild parties and contests, her husband Claudius had no idea. Before we dive into more juicy stories, make sure to like this video and subscribe if you're enjoying these scandalous tales from history. 7. Socrates and Xanthippi, the philosopher versus the pot of urine. Socrates is remembered for his wisdom, but when it came to his personal life, things got pretty funny. Socrates was married to a woman named Xanthippi, who had quite the temper. One day, after Xanthippi had enough of Socrates' philosophizing, she took a chamber pot, basically a portable toilet, and dumped its contents over his head. Instead of getting mad, Socrates just wiped himself off and said, "After thunder comes rain." Classic philosopher response. He might have been wise, but even Socrates couldn't win every argument at home. 6. Alexander the Great. A bromance for the ages. Alexander the Great was one of history's greatest military minds, but he also had a very close relationship with his childhood friend Hephaestion. Their friendship was so deep that many believe they were lovers. Whether or not that's true, at one of his famous drinking parties, Alexander apparently paused the festivities to host a kissing competition among his generals. Yep, Alexander's brilliant military strategies included making sure his friends got a little action on the side. Now that's some next-level bromance. 5. King Solomon. 700 wives, 300 concubines, and no peace king. Solomon was known for his wisdom, but he was also famous for having one of the largest harems in history, 700 wives and 300 concubines. You have to wonder how he kept up with all of them. In fact, some ancient jokes suggested that Solomon spent more time dealing with his wives than ruling his kingdom. It's said that Solomon's legendary wisdom might have come from all the time he spent trying to keep peace in his palace. After all, juggling 1,000 relationships is bound to teach you a thing or two about conflict resolution. 4. Henry VIII, the king who couldn't keep a wife. Now, we can't talk about strange love lives without mentioning England's infamous King Henry VIII. This guy had 6 wives, and he wasn't exactly known for his gentle approach to marriage. In fact, he was so determined to get a male heir that he changed the entire course of history just to divorce his first wife, Catherine of Aragon. But the real kicker is Henry's love life after that. His wives either ended up divorced, beheaded, or dying of mysterious causes, earning him a rather dark reputation. 3. Catherine the Great. Love and horses? Catherine the Great of Russia was one of history's most powerful women, but she was also the subject of one of the strangest rumors in history. Legend has it that Catherine had a special fondness for horses. While there's no real evidence to support the idea that she had any romantic encounters with her equine friends, the rumor has persisted for centuries. The truth is that Catherine's love life was scandalous enough without the horses. She had several lovers throughout her life, many of whom were significantly younger than her. She wasn't afraid to take control of her relationships, and in a male-dominated world, that was pretty shocking. But no matter how many lovers she had, the whole horse rumor stuck, proving that sometimes the wildest stories aren't even true. 2. Rasputin, the mad monk, and his mysterious charm. Rasputin, the mystic who influenced the Russian royal family, had a reputation for being hard to resist, especially for women. Rasputin wasn't exactly a looker, but his strange charisma drew people to him, particularly members of the Russian aristocracy. One of the wildest stories about Rasputin is that he claimed his holy powers could be transferred through, let's just say, some very physical means. He became infamous for his late-night parties filled with debauchery, even though he was supposedly a holy man. His influence over women was so strong that rumors began circulating that he was having affairs with the Empress Alexandra and many other noble women. Whether or not all of these claims were true, Rasputin's reputation as a mystical, magnetic figure made him one of the most bizarre personalities in Russian history. 1. Emperor Elagabalus, a royal love life. Finally, we end with Emperor Elagabalus of Rome, who makes Caligula and Nero look almost tame by comparison. Elagabalus ruled from 218 to 222 AD, and in those short years, he packed in more romantic scandals than most people do in a lifetime. Elagabalus was openly bisexual, which was shocking in ancient Rome, but that wasn't what made him stand out. He married 5 times. Elagabalus was known for cross-dressing and publicly identifying as a woman, demanding to be addressed as empress rather than emperor. He even reportedly offered large sums of money to any surgeon who could successfully change his gender. To say Elagabalus broke all societal norms would be an understatement. He was truly ahead of his time in terms of gender fluidity, but his reign was short-lived. He was assassinated at just 18 years old. So what have we learned today? Well, history's greatest figures weren't just busy with wars, conquests, and politics. They had some of the weirdest, funniest, and most scandalous love lives ever. It's clear that love, whether passionate or peculiar, has always been part of human history, and sometimes it's the strangest stories that stick with us the most. But here's a question for you. Which of these stories surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to Mysteries Debunked for more wild stories from history.